Unapinga. Unasema aka kamelipwa na kasongo aka. But deep down, pale ndani ya roho yako, you know I'm right. You know I'm right. You know I'm telling you the truth. That truth that you don't want to hear. Kana choma. Kana ingia mpaka uko ndani kwa maini. But you know I'm right. I'm right. Stop taking money from politicians. Hakuna vile utachukua pesa ya mwanasiasa na ulalamike kwamba hakuna barabara. Barabara ni wewe umekula, iko kwa tumbo yako. Unasema hakuna barabara na umekula barabara. Unasema hakuna madawa kwa hospitali na ulikula pesa ya mheshimiwa. Kwani ulifikiri mheshimiwa alitoa wapi pesa? Kwani yeye ni Mother Teresa? Pesa yako ya madawa ndiye alichukua akakupa wewe bana wewe. Wacha kulalamika. Enda kanisani mahali Ruto alitoa 20 million uombewe upone. Kwani unaitisha dawa? Na pesa ya dawa ameleta kanisani bana wewe. You know I'm right. This tribalism, we should kill it before it kills us. And you will disagree with me because you are passionate. Umeweka roho juu. But in 2 or 3 years' time, you will remember the words I told you. And you will say, I'm sorry Morara nilikutusi, but you are right. Until we kill that thing called tribalism, it will kill us. I assure you of that. And secondly, we need to stop defending corruption. Whether it's done in the government by Ruto or somebody appointed by Ruto, or it was done in the opposition by somebody who is in the opposition right now, who pretends to be good, yet they were stealing a few years ago when they were in government, and now they are pretending to be the saviors of the country. We should oppose corruption, whether in the opposition or in government. The honest truth is that ODM was in the opposition, but still ODM governors stole from their counties and ran them down to the ground. So yes, they could have been the opposition. They could have been fighting for human rights and equal access to opportunities, but they were stealing from their own people, and they were being given direct tickets to vie for those positions. And you know I'm right. You know I'm right. You know it. You know it in your heart. Ni kupinga tu unapinga. Wewe sumbua, lakini you know I'm right.
So you're telling me the Auditor General flagged the misuse of 2.7 trillion Kenya shillings. 2.7 freaking trillion. Money meant for development and refinancing was misused by daily government use. Yani pesa ya kutumia on a daily basis ya gava. 2.7 freaking trillion. Yet, the president is moving around the country talking about this national consolidated fund yenye inafaa kuwa na 4.5 trillion Kenya shillings, and that money will move this country from third world to first world. Just 4.5 trillion Kenya shillings. Yet, they have wasted 2.7 trillion Kenya shillings. Pesa imeombwa domestically. That money was borrowed from our banks hapa Kenya and misused by the government. No development, no refinancing, just wasted. Pesa ya kutumia day to day. My heart bleeds for my country.
The Institute of Economic Affairs has unveiled Kenya's first real-time public debt clock, a digital tool that shows how fast the country is borrowing by the second. The clock pulls data from the Treasury, the Central Bank, and the Kenya National Bureau of Statistics, modeling past debt trends and projected borrowing targets, and the pace is steep. As of 12:15 p.m. today, Kenya's debt was rising by 29,184 shillings every second, pushing total public debt to about 12.09 trillion shillings, with 6.6 trillion shillings in domestic loans and 5.39 trillion shillings externally. IES says the goal is to help Kenyans see the direct link between rising debt, future taxes and government spending, especially as debt service continues to squeeze the economy.
Good people, I want us to talk about our debt ceiling. Our debt ceiling has reached 12 trillion Kenya shillings. Now listen to this. Out of the 12 trillion Kenya shillings, Parliament only approved, and this is why we always say it's important who we vote in the next Parliament, because this Parliament that we have currently does not care about Kenya, and they are completely being held hostage by the executive. Out of the 12 trillion Kenya shillings debt ceiling that we now have, Parliament only approved 2 trillion Kenya shillings to be borrowed. Now, the same Parliament, meaning a good 10 trillion, was not approved by Parliament. It was borrowed outside their mandate and outside their approval. Now, out of the 12 trillion, they have now approved that we pay as a country 8 trillion Kenya shillings. So they are approving the repayment of debt that they not even approved. But now wanasema ilipeni 8 trillion. We have no country here, you guys.
I'll be very brief. I've been talking about this for 4 years. Our laws in our constitution are very clear. How we collect taxes, how we borrow money. It is in the Constitution, chapter 12. And those laws are what are called financial controls. And they were put there so that our so-called representatives follow the will and the controls of the people of Kenya. If you have anything to do with accounting, you know, if your accountant does not follow the rules and regulations, he becomes a criminal. What we have here has been massive criminality. Our laws, for example, are clear that when you borrow, you can only borrow for development. And they say medium term. That means beyond 1 year, you can only borrow for development. It is clear. Now, if you have passed development budgets in 20 years, in 10 years, of 2 trillion shillings, those are the development budgets. Those are the borrowings you have said equivalent, for example. How do you then take 8? You can't. Because what is it anchored to? So borrowings are for development. You borrow to go and build a bridge. You borrow to go and build a road, a borehole, something that is tangible to us, and it is passed in the budget.
The Kenyan people are not fighting for the right to speak or for the right to belong to. They're not fighting for that.
So
they own that right.
These people who are sending tweets and being abducted.
People, why are they being abducted? They are fighting for economic liberation. Okay? It is only a response that people are trying to stifle your voices. But it is, the Kenyan people have taken it for granted. They've owned their political rights. Those rights exist. And we live them, we own them. What they are fighting is economic emancipation. Look at it this way. Before 24th June 2024, there was no abduction taking place here. There was no extrajudicial killings of demonstrators. We are not seeing men in balaclavas and Subarus all over. Those came after something happened. That something was the Reject Finance Bill. So it was a fight for economic emancipation.
And in terms of development and leadership, how do the young people rate President Ruto? Let's find out.
Saizi out of 10, nampea 3 out of 10.
Give a negative 0.1.
Naweza mpea 9 out of 10.
For this short while I'm along, venye nyinyi mtachukulia, naweza sema out of 10. Hiyo negative. Negative kama 5 hivi. 4 out of 10.
Solid 3.
Mimi naweza mpigia tu yenyewe jumia hajanisaidia. Mimi nampatia 1.
Acha nimrate, by the way anajaribu. Out of 10 let me rate him at 8.
Kwa kipindi cha miaka 3 ambayo imepita, imekuwa ni kilio na kusiaga meno. Yale matumaini ambayo tuliokuwa nayo na rais wetu William Ruto imebadilika ikawa ni kilio. Mimi kama mkazi wa Nakuru County, kuna mambo mengi ambayo hakika wakati nilipokuwa nampigia debe William Ruto kama rais wetu, tulikuwa tunatazamia kwamba maisha itabadilika. Lakini sasa hivi kutoka achukue uongozi tuliona kwamba aliingia katika kipindi cha udikteta. Aliingia katika kipindi cha kuweza kuwatukana wa Kenya, aliingia katika kipindi cha kukandamiza walimu, education, katika mambo ya universities. Tuliona pia aliingia katika kipindi cha kuweza hata kuangamiza watu wakati wa 2024, wakati wa finance bill. Mimi kama mkazi wa Nakuru nimehuzunika sana. Hata jana juzi wiki hii iliyopita nikisikia akisema kwamba hatutaki mvua, tunataka maji. Tunaona kwamba pia alikuwa anasema hatutaki akili, tunataka kichwa. Kwa hivyo huyu ni rais ambaye amekuwa kikejeli wa Kenya, na ninaona kwamba mahali tumefika kama wa Kenya, ile wimbo ambao imekuwa ikiendelea katika taifa la Kenya, mimi nakubaliana nayo ya kwamba William Ruto, hata ukitoa State of the Nation address, wewe ni one term.
Mtu ameua security kila mahali, watu wanalia. Mtu ameua mahospitali, yani sekta ya health. Na mtu huyo tuna matumaini gani na yeye? Sisi tunasema namna hii, miaka 3 tumechoka. Miaka 3 tumelia kilio isio na mwisho. Biashara zimeanguka, Wakenya tunalia, tunakulana, hata biashara hakuna mtu anaweza kusaidia ule mwingine. Kwa hivyo ile hali president ameweka taifa la Kenya, sisi hatutaki kusikia. Hata hiyo habari anaenda kutoa, sisi hatuna haja na kukusikiza, kwa sababu uongo juu ya uongo, uongo juu ya uongo, uongo juu ya uongo, tunakusikiza nini? Kwa hivyo ujue tu sisi wa Kenya tushaamua, na kivumbi tutakuonyesha. One term ndio zawadi tunakupatia.
Ground inasema aje? One term. Ground inasema aje? One term.
Nunca la ves, costa.